every guru, every teacher is eventually going to let you down, because the answer is not in them. The answer is in the place you've been afraid to look your entire life. You have been taught to outsource your power since the day you were born.
I think we're seeing that guru complex kind of crumbling. And I think it's leaving us all to kind of look at like, where were we a part of that? 3.5 million plus it's a lot of people. Do you feel like on the spiritual journey that at some point that feeling of having to keep your own ego in check?
My social media has been like twofold.
I love the vulnerability.
I also want to share like how to spot out
Yeah.
a fake guru. It's time to start questioning everyone.
Why do you think so many people are going back to more of like a traditional religion from New Age spirituality?
Well, let me ask you this question. Why doesn't religion talk about any of this stuff? This is how deep this gets, Lana. We don't realize how deep what I'm actually saying actually is.
Maybe your journey is questioning religion. Maybe it takes you closer to religion. At some point you'll feel what is truth. And I'm just trying to bring the perspective of like, only we know.
Could it be that the more that our frequency raises, the more that we actually become more like Jesus? Could it be that what he actually did was say the truth? Could it be that they actually killed him because he was New Age back then? Could it be that he would actually tell you something along the lines of, everything you're looking for is within. The kingdom of God is within. Does it ring as true?
I'm glad you asked that.
And for those of you that are Christians out there, I just got to ask you, did he die for your sins or not?
We leave you with that. Ponder as you wish. Today, we're going to be diving in on the topic of spiritual awakening without getting lost. And I'm excited to chat about this because we're in a time of mass awakening on a global scale. So much so that people are calling this time period the Great Awakening. But what does that even mean, right? To me, it means we're in a time where people feel this deep inner knowing that something about the way they've been living, believing, working, relating to, and chasing is no longer aligned. You see people questioning the lives they've built, the systems they were raised in, the religion they grew up in, the success they've been chasing, the relationships they've accepted, and the versions of themselves they were told they had to become. In a nutshell, people are starting to ask real questions. What is all of this? Who am I really? What is true? What actually matters? What am I doing here? I've been going through my own spiritual awakening process for the last 6 years, while also witnessing and helping other people move through their own for the last 3. And it's beautiful to go through and witness. And I can confidently say there's a whole other rabbit hole that opens when it happens. It's not always just rainbows and sunshine. There's endless information telling you where to go next. Teachers, retreats, plant medicine, spiritual communities, coaches, guides, gurus, religious paths, wellness trends, modalities, practices, opinions. It's a lot. And if you do not have the discernment, the search for healing can become another place to lose yourself. Trust me, I've been there. And that's exactly why I wanted to explore this topic today. How do we wake up without getting lost in the sauce? Without getting taken advantage of? How do we move from understanding the language of healing to actually embodying it? How do we learn from teachers without putting them on pedestals? How do we explore plant medicine, God, nature, spirituality, and transformation without giving our power away? How do we return to what's real? And more importantly, how do we even know what's real? This is what we are here to explore today. My guest, Danny Morel, felt like the perfect person to have this conversation with. Danny has built a global platform and community of over 3 million around awakening, healing, and transformation, helping people come back to who they really are and what actually matters. So let's dive in.
You know, I've got to say, I've never felt an intro more aligned and more yes than that one. So
thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited because I think this is going to be good.
That says a lot. Thank you.
Yeah.
I know you've been on a lot of pods. You have a pod of your own.
Yeah.
Been all over the world. So I appreciate that. I'm excited to dive into this topic.
Let's do it.
Okay. So I want to start with a lot of people in like the spiritual sphere, like the spiritual communities know who you are, right? You have the community, the Awaken events globally, your book now, your podcast, just the work you do in general. But maybe not everyone knows your actual story of how you spiritually awakened. I would love you to kind of walk us through what exactly you were doing before this, like what you were chasing and what your spiritual awakening process looked like.
Yeah. everything happened for me when my mom passed away. And just before that, I had no idea of this, but I was chasing external validation in a lot of different ways. First was through business. So I was the typical like motivational, like grinded out, like business guy that was really successful. We did $1 billion in annual sales before I sold the company. That was about 40 million in revenue. So it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Had 400 real estate agents working for me. And that was like, okay. The second part was my relationship. I was in a 13-year marriage at the time, which, if I'm honest, I wasn't aware that I was not only unhappy, I wasn't in my masculine, I was afraid to be my authentic self, and none of this was her fault. This was 100% on me. And finally, I was about like 80 pounds overweight. So my head looked like I had just swallowed like 10 pizzas. And, I went to the gym every day. I woke up at 4:30 in the morning and I was like doing life. But what I didn't realize was that energetically, I was living in like my wounding. I was living in my mind, and I was severely disconnected from my heart. And when my mom passed away, the awakening for me happened with questions, which I think that's the like step number one of awakening is, will you allow yourself to question everything? Yeah. I started to question religion. I started to question God. I started to question everything that I had been taught about our connection with God, because none of it made sense to me anymore. My mom used to go to church every week, and yet she died of lung cancer and she never smoked a day in her life.
Wow.
So, when I turned to the doctors, they didn't have answers. And when I turned to the priest or the pastor, he said, God works in mysterious ways, and like all that is cool.
Yeah.
Like when you're in it.
Yeah.
But when your mom dies, it's like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Like that's just not going to work for me anymore. The second thing that started happening was these questions. I genuinely feel like the minute she crossed to the other side, she started sending me the questions, the people, the circumstances that I needed to awaken. Questions like, are you happy? Questions like, are you in love? And questions like, do you love what you do? And those were very scary questions for me, because the answers to all of them I knew was no. And so that's where everything began for me. Instead of avoiding the questions and avoiding those answers, I like got really curious about them. And I started asking, like, why is it no? How did I get here? Like, what was I searching for? And that's where the journey began.
Wow.
Yeah.
I loved hearing that. I love that you say that was where you really noticed it. It's like just started asking deeper questions.
Well, what happens is fear controls and love allows. So fear doesn't allow us to question anything. Fear stays stuck in belief. Belief that your relationship is exactly the way it needs to be. Belief that your business is exactly the way it needs to be. Belief that what the preacher is telling you on Sundays is absolutely true. And if you were to question it, you go to hell. And that's all fear.
Yeah.
And people hate hearing this. But the truth and love allows. Hang on a second. How do I know that what this guy on Sunday is telling me is absolutely true? How do I know that Jesus actually died for my sins? How do I know that he's coming back to save me? Even though when I look at the past and I look at the thousands of people that have come before me, they all died without him coming. So the likelihood is he ain't coming in my lifetime either. Hang on a second. Is this relationship structure for me?
Yeah.
Is this person that I called in, did I call them in from love? Or did I call them in from a need or a wound? See, we're afraid of all of this. One more question. Like, am I making the money that I deserve to make?
Yeah.
Am I living the life that I actually want to live? See, when we're in fear and the power of the mind, we just do whatever the program tells us to do.
Yeah.
Because it's less scary to do that.
Yeah.
it doesn't ruffle the feathers.
Yeah.
When we return to our heart, get ready, because the heart allows you to ask everything you've been afraid to ask, and it's going to start exposing everything you've been afraid to see.
That's why I also love to have the conversation of it's not all rainbows and sunshine in this awakening process, because I think that sometimes spirituality and spiritual awakening is marketing as that, and that has not been my experience. It has had beautiful moments, and it has been like extremely challenging, and you have to be extremely brave.
Absolutely. I'd like to address that. The reason why, and we'll get into the marketing, et cetera, later,
Yes.
and we'll get into like why people hop in and out of like spirituality and church and all of that, because I really have a lot to say
We
to
got
that.
that's on.
But you just said something really important. You said you have to be brave.
Yeah.
The reason you have to be brave is because when you are in belief, you are actually living in fear. And when you are living in the frequency of fear, you are actually the most powerless version of yourself.
Yeah.
Because the exterior controls you. The belief controls you. It dictates what you do and don't do. The bridge between the frequencies of fear and love is, guess what? Courage. Courage is the thing that allows us to see, wait a minute, something's not right. Courage is the energy that allows us to be honest with ourselves. Courage is the energy that allows us to face everything we've been told to believe. Until we awaken, we just go, nah, that's the devil. That's evil. You're wrong. You're going to hell. Why? Because that's a lot easier to do than to roll up your sleeves and go, time out a second. What is actually happening here?
Yeah.
What is life actually trying to teach me right now? What have I been avoiding all of this time? And am I willing to lay it all on the line to discover the truth? That's when you tap into courage, and that's when the journey to love starts to begin.
I really like that. Okay, we have so many like things that I can't wait to talk about when you bring up those topics, so we're going to get there. But you have your book, right? Awaken Your Highest Self.
Yeah.
Your Awaken events talk about awakening all the time. Like, what does awakening or to awaken mean to you?
I think you nailed it in the intro, to be honest. I really did. But if I were to look at awakening, it's like getting still with yourself and honest with yourself and looking at every area of your life.
Yeah.
And with as much, humility and reverence for this beautiful thing called life, and without connection to the past or the future, looking at your life and asking yourself the question, is this what life is for me? Like, is this as good as it's going to get? Is there anything that I actually deeply desire? Am I disconnected from my feelings? Does fear control my mind? Am I being run through a program, potentially from religion and even society and even our parents?
Yeah.
That's awakening. Awakening is essentially you going, time out.
Yeah.
Nothing is making sense anymore. And I'm scared as hell, but I would rather face it than run from it anymore, because I want to stop believing what everyone else tells me, what I hear on a podcast, what I read in a book, what I
podcast included.
Yeah,
right?
everything.
Question it all.
Question.
I always say that. I'm like, this is my opinion, but you question it.
Right. Question everything.
Question it.
Yeah. And then awakening is rolling up your sleeves and going on that journey and say, I'm ready to face whatever I need to face. That's where it gets a little scary. And that's where I think true, genuine guidance could help us a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Why do you think we're experiencing what a lot of people are referring to as the Great Awakening, like a mass amount of people waking up, awakening, seeking, searching?
Two things. Number one is the internet.
Okay.
What was once hidden is now being brought to the light.
True.
So truth now has a platform to reach everybody. Like, think about it. Before, we just used to like live in these little communities, and like, you know, the entire community used to go to the one church, and the church told you who you had to marry, when you had sex or didn't have sex, what you did with your money. By the way, make sure you give me 10% of all of it. But then it tells you that money is the root of all evil. Isn't that really beautiful and interesting how they do that? It's the root of all evil, but yet like, give me from everything that you earn, right? And yeah, and then we didn't have an avenue to ask any questions. Now we're asking a lot of questions. Yeah, we're asking a lot of questions. And so I think that's number one. But number two is AI. And it's really important that we understand that what AI is doing is, if it's not, you know, if we don't have it in check, it's a wonderful tool if used correctly. But if we don't have it in check, it could literally bypass our connection with God.
Yeah.
And the more and more that that is happening, the more and more that darkness and dark energies are going to be able to siphon our energy, which is how they live. And so the more of us that are in that frequency, the more of us that have to awaken to balance it all. And eventually what I see happening is all of us returning to love.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a friend, Eric Neese. He's the one that kind of brought me into this work. He was, I don't know if you remember The Real World. He was on the very first one. He was my neighbor growing up. He brought me into this whole world. And he always talks about the Great Awakening and calls it the Great Purification. But it's just, I think what used to be sort of this like woo-woo conversation, some of us that were talking about it, it was like, what are you guys talking about? But now, I mean, we had aliens on the news the other day on Fox News.
Oh, wow.
There was 4 alien species that they've identified. And I'm like, you got to question if the news now is talking about aliens. I'm like, you got to question that.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so, it can get so confusing for people. And I really have a lot of empathy for the people that wake up and then are like, whoa, this is like a lot. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, the word that came for me was compassion.
Yeah.
And I'm going to explain to you why. Because the way I'm wired, because my dad wasn't around, because my mom didn't know how to express her love to me, I was forced to live life from the perspective of like, if it's going to be, it's up to me. So even when my awakening began, I knew where to go. I knew who to trust. If I trusted the wrong person, I felt, and I quickly disassociated myself. Like, I crafted my journey. And, you know, if I'm honest, I think most of the people that are going through this journey are not built like you and I. You know, like there's something about being a New Yorker, for example. Like, you got tough skin, and you can feel what's right and what isn't right, you know? Yeah. And in many ways, Lana, that's why I wrote the book. I wrote the book because, number one, you're never going to find an answer in a book.
Yeah.
But number two, I wrote it so that the book does what it needs to do. It starts to slowly strip away the layers of protection. It invites you on the mind. It invites you on the journey of questioning.
Yeah.
And it makes you look at some things that maybe you wouldn't know to look at on your own. But then here's the key. It leads you through breath work. It leads you through meditation. It leads you through beautiful little ceremonies. It leads you through healing parts of what's going on with you and your mom and your dad. And that's where it's like, I use the book, or I created the book to be like a portal to the spiritual world.
Versus being like the guru teacher guy.
Well,
like,
when I need to get into that.
I know we can, you know what? I'm gonna move it up. Hold on. Hold the phone.
Yeah.
We're going guru pedestals.
Okay, let's go guru teacher.
Okay, we're going to skip the other one. I mean, I'm going to get to it.
Well, you know, that whole guru teacher thing.
Yeah.
When we pedestalize a guru or a teacher, what we unconsciously are doing is showing life how knee deep we are in the frequency of separation, in the frequency of outsourcing our power. And it's important that people understand that you have been taught to outsource your power since the day you were born. First, you did it with your parents, and you saw that life was dependent upon them.
Yeah.
And if we didn't have loving parents, well, some parents actually take advantage of that energy.
Yeah.
Right? And so you learned that that wasn't safe. Then guess what you did? You did it with your teachers, and you learned that the answer was in the teacher. Then you went to church, and you learned that the answer was in the preacher. Then the church told you to read the book, and you learned that the answer is in the book. And then you discovered government, and you learned that the answers was in the government and in the political party of choice, right?
Doctors.
So guess what happens when you start to do this? Guess what happens when you start the awakening process? If your whole life, your consciousness has been about outsourcing your power, guess what you're going to do? You're going to naturally continue to outsource your power and look for a guru. And I'm here to let you know that that is not what life or God or your heart want for you. Every guru, every preacher, every teacher is eventually going to let you down.
Yes.
Because the answer is not in them. The answer is in the place you've been afraid to look your entire life. The answer is in yourself. And when you have the courage to do that, you become the guru, you become the teacher, and you become the savior that religion tells you to wait for your entire existence. I think I answered it without the question.
Yeah, you did, but I have more. I'm like, don't worry, I don't even need the cue cards. I mean, this is the thing, right? So like, and a lot of the people that I've been helping and just in my own journey, it's like, okay, we wake up, we awaken, we go through that process. Looks different for everybody. There's like similar undertones, but yeah, whether it's the medicines or the shamans or the guides or the healers or the coaches, I do think there was always a point where I was let down because I was like, this ceremony is going to it's going to be this time. And until I broke out of that, that's what I kept getting.
And look, victim consciousness blames them.
100%.
Creator consciousness goes, oh my God, it was the part in me that was outsourcing my power to them.
Right.
Yeah. And this is why, and I'd like to speak to this. You were there, you've been to Awaken. In the first 5 minutes of Awaken, the very first thing that I walk out and say, because, you know, they clap and they're woohoo, right? They're all excited. And I just like shut that shit down right away.
Yeah.
And I literally say, you are not here for me. You're not here to take a picture with me.
Yeah.
You're not here to like, you know, rub shoulders with Danny. Because if you think that way, you're right back in school, you're right back in church, and you're not understanding what you are actually here for.
Yeah.
You are here for you.
Yeah.
You are here to reconnect with you.
Yeah.
And I want to speak to the only reason why I was able to actually see that and like be in this place was because that used to be me.
Yeah.
I used to be so insecure that I needed you to look for me. I needed you to need me. I needed you to validate me. And when like God showed me that part of myself, I go, oh my God. And that was a long journey for me because all I ever knew was to look for like my power and my essence outside of myself, in a woman, in a bottle of tequila, in money, in my business, in the car I drove, in the clothes I wear, and in the people that I supposedly was trying to help. But guess who I was actually helping? Myself.
I was going to ask you, I mean, 3.5 million plus it's a lot of people. I mean, David Grutman, who runs all of Miami nightlife restaurants, I mean, he's got 1 million followers on Instagram. I literally noticed that today. I was like, that's a lot of people. Yeah. Do you feel like on the spiritual journey that at some point that feeling of having to keep your own ego in check or feeling like the people that you're helping like makes you feel a certain way?
Yeah. So I think it's really important for people to understand that there are tools out there that God has like left us and like downloaded into certain of us to help us on our journey. Yeah. The first one is astrology. And I think that like I cover this a lot in my community. A lot of people go through things in life. I'm talking breakups. I'm talking a death in the family. I'm talking an illness scare. I'm talking, whatever. And when we're in separation, we wonder, why is this happening to me? If you just looked at your astrological chart, it'll tell you exactly why it's happening. And this way, instead of going, being in stress, you can go, okay, so like, I'm right where I need to be, And I think that's a major thing that the Matrix tries to keep us from, is just knowing what's happening in our lives through astrology. The second one is human design. Human design is very, very important, because until you fully understand your human design, you don't fully understand yourself. And so to answer your question, I'm a reflector. So a reflector is like less than 1% of the human population.
Yeah.
There's a shadow side to the reflector. The shadow side to the reflector is the savior complex. The unawakened, unhealed reflector lives in the savior complex, which literally means I am the answer to your life's problems. True story. The shadow aspect of the reflector for the person that is like learning from them is, guess what? He is the savior to all of my life's problems. So the greatest thing I could have ever experienced in my life is coming face to face with that, naming it, calling it out, throwing it up, shitting it, doing whatever I had to do to get rid of it. Because I just realized, whoa. I do not want to live in my shadow. I want to live in purity. I want to live in my heart. I want to live in, my feminine. I want to live in my love. And I want people to feel safe when they are experiencing our work. And more than my words, I just want them to feel the energy. That's the beautiful side of the reflector. The awakened reflector is the Matrix worst nightmare. Because the awakened reflector just reflects back to the population what's happening inside of them that they can't put words to. And so I will say that like my social media has been like twofold. Like the first part was like, I need you to need me. Admittedly, I'm just saying that,
And admitting that so many people, again, like will learn from your own reflections. Somebody with such a big platform, somebody with helping so many people. It's like, that's what I always try to do on this podcast is like, we're talking and we're observing like ourselves while we're talking about the spiritual community, while we're talking about all these things, the guru complex, embodiment. So I think that's really helpful for people to hear that. But you were saying the shadow side.
Well, so then I saw how that shadow side of me would operate. I would use confrontation. I would use people triggering people. I would use anything I possibly could for my account to grow. Why? Because I needed my account to grow. And then I went through a period, this was probably about a year ago, where I saw it and I was like, fuck, man, that's not the real me. So the same way I put it all on the line in my awakening journey, I've got to put it all on the line here. Because if this book comes out and people feel that, guess what? Then the book isn't going to do the purpose that God has for it. So I've got to be willing to face this part of myself. And I remember like, I used to use the whole masculine and feminine thing to get people to, I used to do that. And now I was like, I just don't want to do the algorithm. I won't do that anymore. So now what you see is like, I'll just get it in front of my phone. I'll just share from my genuine heart what's coming up for me. I no longer care about the algorithm. I no longer care about posting 3 times a day. I no longer care about what anyone thinks. I no longer care. I'm just sharing from my heart.
Yeah.
And if the message connects, the message connects. And the beautiful thing is that it's connecting, because that's when all of our gifts really start to come online. Yeah. When we face that shadow, when we return to our authentic highest self.
I just love that you went through that whole process, like that you were willing to share that honest process about what you've been through in this journey. Because again, it's like, I think we're seeing that guru, like that whole complex kind of crumbling. And I think it's leaving us all to kind of look at like, where were we a part of that? Where were we like playing into that? And I know I was in sales my whole life and then coming into this work, and it's just like, it's really switching in and out of that. And I think you will give a lot of people permission to reflect on their own process of social media and how they show up. And I love the vulnerability.
Yeah, and thank you for that. And I also want to share like how to spot out a fake guru.
Okay.
Feel their need. Feel what they're actually doing with their content.
Yeah.
Feel how they use anything and everything to get your attention other than deep truth.
Yeah.
Feel how they use celebrities. Feel how they use fame. Feel how they use their partners. Feel how they use their relationship. Feel how they use anything and everything to like literally get you to need them. And if you actually feel, which is what a lot of us don't do, you will literally be able to feel and spot out the fake gurus, which is like, 98% of them, and like the 2% genuine people who are just there to help you.
Yeah.
And that is how big the disparagement is, right? Like I just want to say this because I really hate talking about deep, like,
I was going to bring it up.
fuck. Okay, so
I mean, it's important.
I have a rule to like not talk about other, because I don't want anybody speaking about
like
me.
that, yeah.
But this is like it's a public issue.
It's
so
a
like
public issue.
to my brother Deepak, I'm sorry. Like but you could feel that one. You could feel that one. You could, if you actually felt, you could feel it. Yeah. And if you actually looked with your spiritual eyes, you could see the constant need for like celebrity. You can see like, I think the last time I saw him, the dude was wearing like diamond glasses. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like, if you're actually spiritual, you don't really need, you're just more simpler that way. And so, he called it in for the reason that he needed to call it in, but we as a collective consciousness called it in as well, because it's time to start questioning everyone, everything. And I honestly also love how when you detailed the process of what your process looked like when you felt like, I'm feeling a little bit of like that energy within myself and I'm going to switch gears. And now because you went through that, it's like you can spot that, right? If someone's triggering the algorithm or triggering people, I think this is like my hope and prayers that like we all, maybe Deepak and anyone else comes forward and says, you know what? I did get lost in the sauce. I was drinking my own Kool-Aid. And I feel like whenever somebody does that, then I'm like, amazing, because you're just a human too. Because that's truth.
Yeah.
And that is resonance.
Yeah.
But that takes a lot of courage.
Yeah.
See, that's awakening. And that's what most of us avoid. Because you have to be willing to put it all on the line.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story. When my awakening happened, I had an affair. Mm-hmm. And it was perfect that I had an affair. It was perfect that I had an affair because I was the good boy. I had built remember, just look at how the story all connects. I needed you to approve of me. Mm-hmm. So I constantly outsourced myself and I constantly depleted myself by living for others. Mm-hmm. And I did that in my relationship as well. And so for 13 years, I was in a relationship with an absolutely wonderful woman. To this day, all I want is love.
Yeah.
That's all I
She's the mother of your three boys?
She's the mother of my
boys?
three boys. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I felt caged in that relationship. Again, you never blame anyone else. Yeah. It's always 100% you. You put your damn self in that cage, right? Mm-hmm. And I didn't have the balls to get out of the cage. Mm-hmm. I didn't have the balls to bring up what needed to be brought up. So guess what I did? I did what a man in his not in his masculine does. He goes and he outsources the problem and he has an affair. Now, I didn't realize what was happening at the time. But I'll tell you, that's exactly what I needed to face the mask that I had been wearing my whole life of the perfect good boy, businessman, Christian. Because all of that shit was complete bullshit.
Yeah.
I was living from the fear of the little boy inside of me that was afraid to be loved for who he actually was. So I have this moment. Where I'm going through this divorce. My mom just died. These questions are popping up in my head. My awakening is happening. But I'm still very much like stuck in fear. And we go to the pastor. And the pastor sits us down. And my ex-wife is there, and the pastor's in front of us. And I'm literally like, Pastor, please get this devil out of me. Because something is wrong. But like, I don't know that I love my wife the way she deserves to be loved. So please, I know this is some demonic, look how deep the program is. You know what I'm saying? And he goes like this. Well, son, you can't get divorced because in James chapter 3, verse blah, 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 it says blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, but like, what about my heart? What about my feelings? And he looked at me and he goes, okay. Leviticus, blah, 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 says you can't get a divorce because of blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And guess what I said? Okay, but like, what about my heart? What about my knowing, my deeper inner knowing, And finally, he was starting to get frustrated. He was starting to get frustrated because the program was no longer working. Like, I'm telling you, my heart was starting to open. My spiritual side was starting to open. And he closes the book out of frustration. He puts the Bible down. He looks me dead in the eye. And he says, I'll tell you what. If you make this decision to get a divorce, all the money you make, the big mansion you live in, and, all of the community's favor on you. I said, yeah. He says, if you make this decision to get a divorce, you are going to lose God's favor in your life.
Wow.
Lana, word for word, that's literally the words that he said. Word for word, I will tell you this right now. That is the greatest thing that ever happened to me. Because it brought me face to face with my deepest fear. It opened the door. I'm just literally getting goosebumps just talking about it. It opened the door for me to access my courage and my truth. And it made me question him and the whole program.
Yeah.
Because the thing that came into my mind was this. I don't know what love is, but I know it ain't that. And I would rather live in a cardboard box on the side of a road, begging for food, completely dirt broke, than to ever live another day of my life in that program. Because what I saw was his projection of his life, his projection of what he felt inside of me. I just literally, it was like a veil was lifted, and I was like, and they were literally like, see? What are you going to choose? And, and hopefully, like, you can connect the dots to that one.
Yeah.
Where, like, I saw the guru that once was the guru, and I was like, you ain't my guru anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be like that. It really, I think the craziest thing too, that's a wild story. Thank you for telling it. But I think the craziest thing too is like, we keep coming back to these like deeper truths, right? Like in the spiritual journey, in the awakening process, where again, are we going to be faced with the decision to be encouraged and have courage? Again, when you built your whole platform and you had already established all that, then you're again faced to be like, wait, I'm actually in some kind of like process. That's again, right. Needing these people to, and it's like, it's just like, it's a spiral, again and again.
But that's life.
Yeah.
Life is continuously calling us to spiral upwards.
Yeah.
To spiral back to love, to spiral back to enlightenment, to spiral back to the version of us that showed up when we were born.
Yeah.
That is literally why we're here.
Yeah.
And resistance and fear keeps us from that. Mm-hmm. This is why, like, I'm going to say this. This is why I know Religion keeps you from your authentic self, your truest connection with God, and from your heart and your soul. It is actually a dark program that has been placed on your life because you outsource your power. You live in guilt because you think that you did something wrong from the moment that you were born, which is complete, absolute bullshit. And you're in a constant state of waiting, which keeps you in a constant state of avoidance. And what are you avoiding? You're avoiding your shadows. You're avoiding the very thing that you incarnated to learn. And I honestly believe that all religion within the next 30 years is going to be highly diminished, and you're going to see churches start to shut down, and you're going to start to see people awaken more than ever before. And like, as I say that, like, if this becomes a clip, people can go, oh my God, you're the Antichrist, you're the devil. No. I'm actually just me. I'm someone that's here to share the truth. And the truth is only going to do one of two things for you. A, it's going to cause you to look at it and go, wait a minute, does it actually do that? Wait a minute, does what I've been believing, is it actually something that's keeping me from my highest self, right? That's courage. That's love. Or two, you're going to do what the program tells you to do. You're going to look at me and you're going to make me wrong. And you're going to make me the devil. You're going to make me the Antichrist. And you're going to do everything in your ego's power to keep that program alive. Why? Because that is how powerful the frequency of fear and separation is. It is much easier to blame the messenger than to receive the message, challenge it, alchemize it, process, get on your hands and knees, and like really throw up all of this darkness that has been inside of you all along.
Okay. Let's dive into a religion a little bit. I have been seeing, you commented on my post actually, when I was like, is it me or is everyone swinging from New Age spirituality back to Christianity?
Yeah.
Listen, I grew up Jewish. My dad's family is Orthodox Jewish. My mom's Italian and Catholic. I grew up very blended. So my mind is very open, and it always has been because of that.
Sure.
I don't have a direct relationship with Jesus because I am a Jew, right? Yeah. And I, although I veered on the more spiritual path, I still identify with being Jewish, and that's my foundation. So I don't really participate in the conversation of what's happening with everybody going back to Jesus. I do think there are beautiful parts of it though.
Yeah.
And both my mom, my boyfriend's mom, a lot of our family, they're just, I see beauty in religion too, but you feel it's darkness. Fully?
Ask me what you need to ask me.
I guess my first question would be, why do you think so many people are going back to more of like a traditional religion from New Age spirituality?
Because they were looking for God in New Age spirituality, and they were looking for God in community. They were looking for God in hats and beads and ceremonies. And again, you will never find God outside of yourself. You will only ever find God within yourself. So that's number one. Number two, I just will say, I don't feel that anything that I've shared today has anything to do with not only New Age spirituality, but any label at all. Because the moment that we slap a label on it, we are belonging to a box.
Yeah.
And we are identifying ourselves in that box.
Right.
I remember those days, Lana. I remember when I first did ayahuasca. I was wearing the fucking hat. I'll give you a picture of it. I was wearing the beads. I had the ayahuasca thing. I went vegan for 3 years. Yeah. As a reflector, I've always been a little weary of people. So I was like doing my own thing. And I think that's what like helped me the most. But I could definitely see myself like identifying with this thing, right?
Yeah, you can get lost in the identity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you did, it's okay.
Yeah.
But what I will tell you is like, that's not where the answers are at. The answer is not in any label. It's not in any theory. It's not in any book. It's not in any movement. It's not in another person. It's not in a community. It's not in a church. It's definitely not in a Bible. The answer is and only will be in you. Period. End of story. And that, Lana, is the scariest thing for a human being to face. Because that brings them face to face with every part of them. Their mind, their nervous system, their beliefs, their, like the darkness in them that is keeping them separate from themselves.
Yeah.
So what most people do, they go to a medicine ceremony. They have a wonderful experience. And then they're like,
the next one.
Yeah, like, oh, wow, I'm a part of this thing. And then they go, I can make money from this thing.
Yes.
So then they go all in on like, wow, I'm different. I can be different because now I'm different than all of these people who I used to be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
You're in your fucking ego is what you're in. You don't know it.
I've been there.
I've been there.
I literally couldn't hang out with, when I rebranded from New York party girl to conscious concierge, I couldn't hang out with anybody.
That's right, right?
And anybody who wasn't on the path.
Right? Right? But watch.
That was embarrassing.
But watch. You know what you're doing? You're unconsciously judging not only them,
Yep.
but the old you.
Mm-hmm.
And so guess what that means? You can't see you in them. That means you are still in separation. And because you cannot see yourself in them, guess what? You can't see yourself for who you actually are either. So guess what you do? You go see yourself in, I am awakened. I am new age. Look at my beads. Look at my hat. You know, essentially it's like, again, I'm right and you're wrong. You haven't changed jack shit. You're still drinking the same Kool-Aid, just with a different flavor. And when you live life like that, guess what's going to happen? You're going to fall on your face and you're going to be let down.
It happened to me.
And when you are let down, you have one of two choices, my beautiful brothers and sisters. You can either go A, love, awakening, right? You can go A, oh my God. The answer wasn't in the beads and in the hat and in the people. Oh my God, wait a minute. If the answer wasn't in here and the answer wasn't in there, wait a minute. Could the answer be in? Lana, get ready for that moment because that's a very beautiful and yet very fucking scary moment because you are literally going to die in that moment. I'm telling you this. And just know you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Or B, you can do what you did. No, New Age is wrong. So now I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back and guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go on Instagram and tell everyone that that is wrong and that is evil and that is the devil, right? And because secretly I couldn't make it over there.
Interesting.
Secretly, I couldn't make the money that I wanted to make over there. And secretly, my little plan that my ego had for me didn't work. So I'm just going to stay in my ego and I'm just going to go back to the group that was bigger and felt safer. And maybe there's even a little bit more opportunity for me.
You think it's about money?
Fuck yeah. It's about money, acceptance, validation, everything. There's more people over there for you to not only serve, but to get your likes and your approvals and your, that's right, sister, preach, sister. So guess what? So your ego just gets ruffled again. And look, I'm just going to tell you, I just pray for your sake, for all of our sake, that one day you will, especially if you did the medicine, your portal's already open. The answer ain't nowhere but in yourself.
It's such a fascinating conversation because, yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Does it ring as true?
I'm glad you asked that. So I'm in a deep exploration of this right now.
Okay.
And what I will share, and also about the other thing you said, get ready for that moment when you thought that community and that thing and that I'm deep in that too. And on my way, working my way out. But I'll answer your first question on religion. My dad's family is Orthodox Jewish. My grandpa was in the Holocaust. They live the most beautiful life. They're so connected. They're so happy. They're so grounded. I look at my uncle and aunt and I'm like, you guys have figured it out. They've figured something for them. So for me, it's hard. My truth in my body is that I only know what is true for me. I don't know if I can say religion for everyone else is wrong or bad or not.
No.
Not that you're saying that.
Right. No.
Yes. To be clear.
To be clear. Let me just clarify.
Let's clarify that, actually.
Religion is a vibrational match for the energy you live in or don't live in.
Interesting.
The more that you are separate from yourself and God, the more that you live in guilt. Guys, listen, there's a lot of people that are wealthy, rich, happy, all of it, that live in fear. What is fear? Anything below the frequency of courage. Just look up the map of consciousness, right? But I'm just going to call it out because we're talking about this. What happens to a little boy when he gets circumcised? His masculine gets disconnected. He's thrusted into the frequency of fear, and he's deeply disconnected from the love that he was. Why? Because in the first week of his life, what happens? He's shown that life equals pain. So I hear you, Lana.
Yeah.
I hear you. I'm just telling you, there's another level that you can reach. And that level that you reach ain't happening in religion.
It's a hot take. It's a hot take. I'm open. I'm open to all. I'm open to all truths and realities.
Yeah.
In this moment, and what I always say with concierge is like, I know what's true for me. Even when I'm working through it, I understand I'm in a process of exploration. But I see so many people that are also, I don't know, like really good people and really not living in fear in religion. And so I can't say that I concur, but I'm open to the exploration.
So what does it mean to live in fear?
I mean, I've lived in a lot of fear, so I can personally, but I've never been that connected to religion.
Okay.
But I've lived in a lot of fear. As always, I only share products I personally use, love, and feel aligned with. And Araza Beauty is one I literally can't stop talking about. I use it every single day. It's a non-toxic, clean makeup brand, and my absolute favorite product is the Coconut Cream Foundation. It's buttery, creamy, smells like heaven. I am obsessed. So if you're looking to upgrade your makeup with something clean, conscious, and actually good for your skin, this is such a good one to try. Araza is giving my community 15% off with the code CONCIERGE. And if you purchase something using my link or code, I receive a small treat too. Their tagline is, "If looks could heal," and honestly, it's giving exactly that. Let me know if you try it and what you think. Back to the show. Here.
So let's address this.
Yeah.
So when you say, I know a lot of people that live in religion, like life is great, right? Okay. Let's just take relationships, for example. When we live in the constructs of the 3D world, please hear me, I am not making relationships wrong. But love is completely different than relationships and marriage. Relationships and marriage are a construct that human beings have created for lots of different reasons. Relationship and marriage is a box. You can and can't do this. And if you do this, the relationship is over. And if you don't, it's just, what is love? Boundless. It can't be contained. It can't be, right? Okay. So my challenge is, how do we actually know what that guy in that box is actually thinking and feeling? How do we actually know that those people aren't living a sexless marriage? How do we actually know what is happening in the intimacy of the home? And could there be the potential, just like there was for me, that on the outside it looks great, but on the inside, there's a sense of disconnection, that they don't have the tools or the guidance or the know-how to access? Because why? Well, let me ask you this question. Why doesn't religion talk about any of this stuff? Because if it does, you're going to open Pandora's box and you will no longer need the religion.
I want to touch on the part where you're saying we don't know what's going on with them. This is why I'm in an era where I am focused on what works for me.
That's right.
And what my relationship, like, not that we can and can't do things. It's like, what are the rules for us?
Yeah,
not even rules. Like,
no.
Yeah.
What are our
defining
terms?
our terms?
What is our?
Yes.
Yeah.
And also when we talk about feeling truth, I think my opinion on this. Well, again, I'm always fluid and open. I'm always open. The Gemini in me is open for.
I'm a Gemini.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm very fluid and open to, like, well, not fluid sexually, but like very open to like concepts. And when we talk about feeling truth, when I walk into my uncle and aunt's house, since I could remember,
Yeah.
I felt love and truth, and truly that these people and like what they've cultivated was something else.
Then that's true.
And that's true. And that's why I've always, again, growing up Jewish and Italian, with the Jews,
Yeah.
I've always understood that I know what I know. I know it's true for me, but I can't necessarily say what's true for them.
No.
You know?
No.
So jury's still out for me on that one.
I guess what I say.
Yeah.
The more open you are to questioning everything, which is a very scary proposition, and it's a scary proposition that most people will never entertain, the deeper you go, the more you will realize that anything man-made could potentially be a construct that is blocking you from your soul's evolution and enlightenment.
Yeah. Well, the jury's still out. But I'm glad you feel like, yeah, you know, and I'm observing the explorations with religion right now. I honor what works for everyone, and I remain open.
So do I.
And so do you.
Yeah.
And I remain open. I will say, before we jump to the commercialization of spirituality, I will say that I am listening and observing the people that are leaving the plant medicine spaces and saying they've had an experience with Jesus, and they've now realized that that's no longer the way.
That Jesus is no longer the way?
That plant medicine and ayahuasca is no longer the way, because Jesus let them know and told them, and they had an experience. I'm curiously observing, and I know people that I love dearly that are very sure in their truth. My thing is just maybe, I think, again, inviting people to, like, maybe that is true. Maybe you feel plant medicine is demonic, but maybe that's just true for you.
And maybe,
do you know?
Well, maybe that's just a reflection of the vibration that you are living at.
Right. Say more.
Look, go study The Chart of Consciousness by Dr. David Hawkins. Remember, I showed this at Awaken, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Go look at the fact that every energy that a human being can live in has a name, like guilt, shame, love, courage, acceptance, etc. And go look at the fact that at the bottom of the list is shame. I gotta get that out. Just saying it, right? The shame. Mm-hmm. And go look at the fact that shame on an energetic level calibrates at a certain level. And go look at the fact that shame, when someone is living in shame, they have a view of life and a view of God. I'm talking not mentally, I'm talking unconsciously. The energy vibrates. So you tell me, when someone lives in shame, picture someone in shame. That's really deep. Yeah. When someone lives in shame, what could their view of God be?
Fear.
Yeah. You know what it is? Despising. God despises me. Every level you go up, the next one is guilt. I think the next one is desire. A lot of billionaires live in desire. The next one is pride. What does the Bible say? Pride comes before the fall. You don't know.
True.
Why does it say? I know.
What does the Torah say?
Like my wife. Like my wife, by the way.
No, I'm kidding. I actually don't know.
Okay, listen. Pride comes before the fall. This is where you have to look behind the words and you have to look at the energy. Pride actually comes before, guess what? Courage. What is courage? The bridge out of fear, the lower frequencies. Again, lots of rich people, lots of happy people, lots of in fear. And the bridge to love, the higher frequencies. Now, you ready? I think the view of God when you live in guilt is like demanding. I could be wrong. Go check it for yourself. Sounds a lot like, if I don't say this prayer, then God is going to punish me and I might go to hell. Does it not? Sounds a lot. Sounds a lot. If God is demanding, then he is demanding that I accept his son as the savior. And if you don't do this, you're going to go to hell. Demanding, right? Typically, when we see God in that view, we see God in that view because our parents were demanding. This is how deep this gets, Lana. We don't realize how deep what I'm actually saying actually is. Every level that you go up, like it's better and better and better. It gets more and more. Your heart opens more. Your spirit opens more. Life becomes easier. It's way more effortless. What's the highest frequency that a human being can live in?
Love.
Truth. Even higher than
authenticity.
Even enlightenment.
Oh.
Enlightenment. You were really close.
Yeah.
Those are the two prior, just below enlightenment. Mm-hmm. Okay, you ready? Mm-hmm. If the view of God in shame and guilt was demanding and despising. By the way, despising, I am a sinner since the day I was born. Something is wrong with me inherently. That's, sorry to say, guys, that is the program of shame being plugged in like a microchip into your soul. I can only say this because I had that shit pulled out and I fucking like shook as all my chakras came back online and I saw the darkness in all of it. Okay, watch. What is the highest frequency that a human can live in? Enlightenment. What is the view of God when a human being lives in enlightenment?
1.
I am. The most powerful words that a human being can ever say. And what did Jesus say when they wanted to kill him and they were asking him, they say that you're God? What did he say? He said, I am that I am. So maybe, just maybe, I don't know. Maybe, just maybe. Could it be that when we live in guilt and shame, Jesus died for our sins? It matches, the belief matches the frequency. Yeah? I don't know. You have to ask yourself that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? And could it be that the more that our frequency raises, the more that we actually become more like Jesus?
And we are raising as a consciousness
We are.
and I do feel a lot of people are having these experiences, So much so that I'm paying attention as a Jewish person.
Right.
My issue with
Wait, one more thing.
Okay, go.
And then, if it's the case that the story of he died for my sins vibrates at the energy of guilt, because that's what it vibrates at, could it be that when you live in enlightenment as a human being, which all of us, all of our souls have the potential to raise into, if we're willing to confront and do the actual work, right? If we're willing to stop outsourcing our power, then could it be, I don't know, I'm just, this is crazy. Forgive me, Jesus, for saying this, but could it be that he didn't actually die for our sins? Could it be that what he actually did was say the truth? Could it be that they actually killed him because he was new age back then?
I've heard that theory.
And could it be that he actually, if he was here right now today, I don't know, but could it be that he would actually tell you something along the lines of, everything you're looking for is within. The kingdom of God is within. God is not out there. God is in here. I am that I am. Could it be that he actually came to show you the pathway to yourself?
Oh, amen.
I don't know. I know, but I don't know.
It's listen, it's
And could it be that all of this is the difference. I know we wanted to touch on this. This is the difference between knowledge and embodiment.
We did want to touch on that. Yeah.
I don't know that.
Yes.
I know that. I know that the day you're ready to say, Danny, let's fuck it. If that's the truth, I want to find out the truth. I'm going to look you in the eye and go, are you sure? You're going to be like, yeah. And I go, I don't think you actually know what you're asking. Are you sure? Yeah. And I'm going to take you through unraveling your fear of death, your fear of every ounce of negative energy in your heart and soul. And what I will guarantee you is you will eventually, if you keep going, get to a place where that's no longer a theory. That's no longer something you read in a book. That's something you become.
And I think, yeah, I mean, in summary with all that, I think it's like, again, you go on this path, you awaken. Maybe your journey is questioning religion. Maybe it takes you closer to religion. At some point, you'll feel what is truth.
Yeah.
And I think, I always am just trying to bring the perspective of like, only we know. Only we know. I even, I want to get to the commercialization, but my last point on the religion is like, because I really, this is like my favorite topic. I do, look, as someone with a Jewish parent and a Christian parent and Muslim friends, I've always really wrestled with how can we all be fighting about what is truth? And I'm very open to maybe this is true for you, this is true for you, but this is true for you. But at the end of the day,
but if it is, here's my challenge.
Someone's got to be wrong.
Well, if there's three different truths,
yeah,
isn't it beautiful how we have separation? Because someone's got to be right and someone's got to be right.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Could it be?
Yeah.
That the goal of darkness is to keep us separate? And could it be that if that's the case, then what I said before might carry some weight?
Yeah.
That religion is darkness, that it is a program to keep us all separate. And for those of you that are Christians out there, I just got to ask you, did he die for your sins or not?
My boyfriend.
Because if he did, guess what? You are right and everyone else is wrong, and you're going to heaven and everyone else is going to hell.
Right.
And if he didn't, there is no everyone else. There is oneness.
Yeah. And all that to say, you know, it's like we go down this path.
She's so funny.
Like,
She's trying to like, I'm like, and she's like, well, yeah, you are. You're like, oh, my family's going to hear this. I'm like, Lana, you brought me on.
like my boyfriend's Christian. No, but listen, anyone who's solid, I talk to my uncle about this all the time.
Yeah.
I've always been a deep seeker of truth.
Yeah.
I've learned to speak to my truth.
Yes.
And invite inquiries. But he's always been part of the Jewish faith is questioning. They encourage questioning. I don't know about Christianity, but in the Jewish faith, you sit and you question for hours and hours and hours. And my uncle will sit with me in a room like this and we'll go question to question. And he does it with love. He does it. He's happy to answer them and he always says to me, this is what I know. He doesn't say they're wrong, these religions. He says, this is what I know in my body as truth. And that's when I'm like, then I honor it.
Can I ask you to have a question for him? No, I'm sorry. I can't.
I'm going to bring him on. I'm going to bring him on.
I can't do this.
Okay.
Because
I want to.
I got a question.
How do I segue into this? Okay. So like we want to turn. I didn't know where we were going, but that's okay. That's the point. That's the beauty. I mean,
you're so hot.
I can't debate these things in the sense of like, I truly don't know. I am observing and exploring what is truth for me on that sense, religion versus spirituality. And I love the conversation. I'm open to it.
If you're right there.
Right. That's the part that I get lost in. I'm like, well, then how?
Don't get lost in it. Just accept it. If you're right there.
Wrong. Yeah. That's again why I'm like, we can't all be wrong or right. Like we're all here on a different mission. And
if one is right and the other one is wrong, are we in separation or oneness?
It's true. We leave you with that. Ponder as you wish. Okay. I want to talk about the commercialization of spirituality. So this is what I want to say on this. We talked a lot about like when you start tapping into your gifts, right? And you're really in that flow and in that process. I've heard you say like the ultimate goal is like getting paid for who you are, right? Like what is this? You say like, yeah.
Get paid to exist.
Get paid to exist. Okay.
Yeah.
I think this part for me is very important because as we go through this process of healing, of awakening, I'm observing also that you said this before. You said it before. People realize there's money to be made in this world when they awaken in spirituality.
Yes.
And so
that was me, by the way. That's why I just speak to what I faced.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I actually really love that you shared that from you having experience with that.
Absolutely.
Because again, I think it's so powerful that like you're sitting here saying that with all that you've built and all that you've helped and still saying like there was a part of me that also, I don't know if the word's like capitalized on it. Like what would the word be like?
Look, everything depends on the energy in which you do it from.
Yeah.
The truth is there is nothing right or wrong.
Yeah.
The truth is that everything is a mirror and a reflection. But we're so busy in right and wrong that we can't ever see what is actually being reflected back to us. So how do you love another human being? By loving yourself. You can't actually love another human being if you don't actually love yourself. So I have a gift. You have a gift. He has a gift. Mm-hmm. We all have a gift. Mm-hmm. I want to share that gift with the world.
Yeah.
I really do. Because from the bottom of my heart, I know that gift could help the people that are ready unravel some of the deepest, darkest energies inside of them. And when they do that, they'll make more money, they'll attract better relationships, they'll live longer, literally, because the nervous system will release the negative energies. Autoimmune diseases, etc., will heal. People, in 3 days come to awaken and get off prescription medications. Not everybody, but it does happen.
I'm dealing with Lyme right now.
Yeah. Like I know. Well, we can heal. Yeah, I know that all of this can be healed.
Yeah.
I know, and I'm going to say this, right now we're having fun and everything, but like when I'm in my actual energy, I know that like my gift is so powerful. And I think it's because I've gone through everything that we've shared that my energy alone causes, without a word, everything from exorcisms to like, and I've shared some of these videos on Instagram. That's what's starting to happen now. Yeah? Okay. And I love myself. So the most loving thing that I can do is to share that gift, because I also love humanity, right? But if I share that gift and I put myself in a place where I'm not first taking care of myself, then is that actually love? No, that's self-deprecation. Yeah? So then you're not winning, they're not winning, and you're doing this from some shadow. You're doing this not from your heart and soul. I'll just tell you, Awaken. Cost me $400,000 to put on.
An event.
Fuck yeah.
Wow.
What do you guys think?
Yeah.
What do you guys, I had this guy, he called me a grifter. I made a video. Danny Morel is back in London and he's a
grifter.
Yeah. And I was like, you motherfucker. Because yes, there are grifters out there. And I can name them. You could, if you go back to this episode and you actually you can feel who they are. You can feel the people that don't have any actual value, that are trying to take advantage of it. Yeah, I'm not that. You could think I am. I'm not that. And if I am that, I'm willing to explore it, because I've explored all of this. But I want to host an event. I want to host an event that changes people's lives. And, if I'm honest, this is something I've never shared before, but for the last 3 years or so, I've been putting other people in front of myself. So it'll cost $400,000, and guess how much we make just in ticket sales? $300,000. See, it's really easy to call people like, but then we're like, when you actually look, so literally like I go into the event and I'm losing $100,000. So that's been a reflection for me. That's been a mirror for me. And that ends. That I'm not going to do that anymore. Because then it puts so much pressure on me and so many negative feelings, and that harms my family. And so then what am I actually doing? I'm actually projecting my deepest shadow onto other people, and I'm putting them in front of myself. That's not love. The same way, there's the other side of that shadow, right? The same way some people are like, this thing cost me $50, but you know what I mean? So look, if you want to know the truth, nothing is right or wrong. It's all about you being honest with yourself and asking yourself, what energy am I doing this from? Because you put value in shoes, you put value in your clothes, you put value in your homes, you put value in the cars you drive. You don't think twice about your cell phone or your cell phone bill. But the minute someone comes up that is genuinely trying to help you to like change your life in some way, shape, or form, they're bad. Why? I'll tell you why. Because they're reflecting back to you the parts of you that are afraid to be seen, the parts of you that don't value yourself, the parts of you that are stuck in victim consciousness, the parts of you that are afraid to charge what you're worth. And it's, again, easier to blame and point the finger than to look inside of yourself to see what is actually happening.
I agree with that. And I also think, I sit in a unique position being a concierge and connecting with all these different coaches and retreats and shamans. And, I meet with the people who are seeking the experiences, and then my partners who are all the people like you guys.
Yeah.
The people that are, offering services. And I'm the natural Gemini in me again. It's like sees the duality.
Absolutely.
I see that people deserve to be paid for their gifts, including myself.
Yes.
And the codes that I'm putting out in the transmissions. And I think the industry has gotten a little bit lost in the sauce. And I think people are also being taken advantage of.
Listen.
And that part I am stuck on too.
But let me, okay,
Yeah,
look, this is the difference between victim consciousness and creator consciousness. Mm-hmm. The victim says they took advantage of me. Mm-hmm. The creator says, what's the lesson in this for me? Why did I call this experience in? What did I not allow myself to see that I could have seen?
Yeah.
And look, I'm telling you, Lana, I have had these actual conversations with people in my program where they call themselves a coach. And I tell them, under no circumstances, I literally, I had this call last week. I was like, you know, your coaching business? She was like, yeah. She was like, I want you to throw it and I grab it and throw it out and to never return to it for 3 years. And she was like, and I go, because you call yourself a transformational and empowerment coach, but you're afraid to transform your life and empower yourself. And so I've got to be honest with you about that, you know?
Yeah.
So that's where people, I think, yeah, you're right. People.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess you bring up a good point. I guess the word isn't, I don't think people are getting taken advantage of unless
Some are.
unless we're talking about, in ceremonies, but in certain places. But I think it's there's the expensive side of it and there's the performative side of it that I want to get one for sake of time. But I think it's like the selling aspect versus the helping people aspect. And it's like those two are intertwined.
As someone who sells from the stage.
Yeah.
And who can clearly see and acknowledge the version of myself that needed a sale, and then can also clearly see, witness, and acknowledge the part of myself that is now just in my essence, that is offering everybody an opportunity to go on a journey, a year-long journey, by the way, for 5K, for a whole year. Like, plus we give them a free ticket to Awaken. Like, this is affordable for the planet. And if it's not, let it reflect back to you. Like, we're not taking advantage, you know, we're just, on the contrary, I undercharge. I send people all the time. I pay for their plane, for their hotels, for their meals, for their ayahuasca ceremony. I do that at every Awaken. I'm just led by the Spirit. It's all just a reflection of you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You. And as long as you've gone into your shit and faced it all and come out the other side, you know, you're going to be all right. And so, and that's what I would say. I would just say that if you're selling, ask yourself why. What's the need?
Yeah.
Confront it. And if you're just being you, and that authentic you causes not a little bit of people to come, but a lot of people to come, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to mute myself to fit into the box and restrictions that you have in your life? I won't do that. I love myself. I love God. I love humanity way too much to do that. And I am willing to face and to look at and to unravel and to confront all of those parts of myself that could still be doing that. And that is the beautiful journey of life.
Amen. And me too. Like when I have consultations, I've asked the coaches that I work with, I'm not comfortable with them hard closing people on a call. I hate it. I don't
want that. Right.
It's like I say, they're going to explore. Let them feel.
Let them feel.
Yeah.
That's,
I'm glad
I'm right there with you.
Well, okay. I mean, I think we can skip the nature part.
That's a big part.
I know. Okay. I think
nature is God.
We were talking about, selling versus helping people. No, I appreciate this exploration. Again, I'm deep in this exploration too, where I, always want to understand, how can we help people from a mass perspective when healing and spirituality, these things have become so expensive. And at the same time, I think there's different ways to help people at different levels. And that's what I always try to bring people. It's like, look, you can work one-on-one, you can go to an event, you can work with a ceremony, you can read a book.
I meet everyone where they're at.
Yeah.
I really genuinely want to help everyone. And look, I'll just name this. Like, that's why I made a book.
Yeah.
Because for $22 or whatever it is, if you wanted to, you could start.
Yeah.
And then there's some people that okay, I want more. And well, then there's a virtual thing we do every month called Heal. It's like $97 for the whole day.
Yeah.
Like, this is really affordable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I do that on purpose because I understand what you're saying, and there's something really beautiful that, like, I wouldn't be the man that I am if I wanted everything for free.
Yeah.
The fact that I want everything for free is actually reflecting something back to me about myself. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be the man that I am if I was afraid of the marketplace. I went into the marketplace. The marketplace was my teacher. The marketplace reflected back to me all of my insecurities, all of my fears of being seen, all of the ways in which maybe I was afraid to be my authentic self, and all the ways in which I didn't feel that my authentic self was enough. Yeah. And then look, when you want to go deeper, yeah, you join the collective. I think it's $59.97.
Yeah.
But that's for a whole year.
Yeah.
I know some people who do 8-week courses for like that price, you know?
Well, and that's what I'm speaking to. Like it's just the landscape as I've observed it. It's, again, I always bring it back to like, what is the energy that I'm.
That's it. Because none of it is right or wrong.
Yeah.
If we were all, again, this is where I'm going to end with this. If we were all more connected to ourselves, then we could clearly see and feel what is for us or not for us. For some people out there, they're going to be messaging me, okay, I'm ready. I want to get this. And for some people, I'm going to be like, fuck that guy. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah. Some people, I have clients who've said to me that somebody felt an energy of sales. They felt very salesy instead of a healer energy. And I say, and
I just will admit, depending on when you came, that probably is where I was at. So thank you for that. And if that's you, like, I want to give you a free ticket to come back because I want to own that part.
That's amazing.
Like, what is there to hide?
Wow. I mean, and it's like,
do you know, Lana, do you know how many people are like on Instagram and they're like, you're a fucking scam artist. What do I say?
That.
I always say,
I've been getting some hate too.
Come for free.
Do you? Wow.
Why? I have nothing that I know who I am and I know what we do. And I also know that whatever that is just reflecting back to you. So if you have the courage to, call me a scammer or a grifter, I went on that guy's video and I said, here's my challenge. I'll pay for your airline ticket. I'll pay for your hotel. I'll pay for everything. Come see and feel for yourself. And if after 3 days you don't go, oh my God, this was the most life-changing thing I've ever witnessed in my life, I will never post another post. I will never host another event. And I will literally give up what I do. But if after 3 days, what I'm telling you is true, then you stop wasting your God-given energy on calling out other people, because what you're actually doing is you're using them to bypass the fact that you're afraid of your own greatness within yourself. Take that for a fucking grifter.
Dude. I mean.
And guess what he did?
He came?
Of course he didn't came.
Oh, he didn't come.
Because a man that wastes all his time talking about other people is a man that's disconnected from his truth, his essence, and his courage. Of course he didn't come.
Yeah.
That takes courage to do that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Whoever that was, tell them.
Who?
They're my guests.
Who?
Whoever told you that.
Told me what?
That they felt sales.
No, I was saying in the space of spiritual.
Oh, God.
But whoever you are,
I'm ready. I'm ready. Like, we don't, this is my relationship. This is why my relationship is what it is. I don't sweep anything under the rug.
No,
anything.
I think that's good. And look, like, I've been to so many retreats, and as a concierge, I've been invited to so many too. And I've always felt into that energy as a salesperson of 10 years of like, where's the line with spirituality and feeling salesy? And I love talking about it too, because I think it names something that's happening, and it's named something we're all learning in real time.
Sure.
And yeah, I really like that. That's what even you said. You said something like, even if at some point, maybe that's how I was, in this moment, I'm not.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I've worked through it.
That's amazing.
I also want to name something else. Danny Morel, 3 million followers, whatever, call it whatever you want, hosts a retreat. And, Joe Schmo, 1,000 followers, just, host a retreat. Which one will naturally be a little bit more expensive?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But why? Not because of the followers, because of the energy, the impact, the value, all the work that has gone into that. You know what I'm saying? Like, immediately we want to make it about, people, I get it. Why is it so expensive? Because I know who I am. What if there is no such thing as expensive? What if expensive is in your head? And what if all I'm doing is claiming who and what I am? And what if by doing that, I'm just reflecting back to you the parts of yourself that haven't done that just yet? I check myself. I know when something is too, I know when it's and I'm constantly, and I know who I am.
Yeah, it's an and.
Yeah. And I know if you're in your heart and you're ready to go all in, I'm just going to go on record and just say this. And before I say it, I feel like every human on earth should be able to say this. I would put my event, my 3-day event, Awaken, up against anyone out there. Tony, Joe, anyone out there, and I guarantee you, I put my life on the line. You will have more transformation at my event than you would anywhere else. That is an absolute guarantee. I would put my program against anyone's out there. Anyone. Doesn't matter who it is. You see, can you say that same thing about yourself? Because if not, go into that. Let it be medicine for you. Because I may be wrong. I don't know. But like I know me. I know my energy. I know the value. I've seen the results. And I feel very confident about that, And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And if you test me, come with an open heart. You know what I'm saying? If you actually come with an open heart and you actually expect for your life to change, just start with the book. Watch what will happen. Watch.
What is the main thing you hope when someone reads the book that they experience or feel?
The greatest life transformation that they could ever experience, more powerful than therapy, more powerful than anything they've ever experienced. The greatest thing that I wish for them to experience is the equivalent of the magic that happens in a plant medicine ceremony. That's my bar.
I love that. Well, this was a transmission. We shared some stuff in this one.
You got hot. You were.
I'm sweating, but I love it. I'm very willing and open to go there. I think it's the Gemini in me. I think it's being, again, like growing up with different, my dad's family is very Jewish. My mom's family is very Italian.
Beautiful.
Like New York is a melting pot. Yeah. I am here inviting you in to discover your truth just as I am. I am always so openly exploring. I know what truth feels like for me, and still always discerning that and sharpening that. And I am literally like bringing these conversations so that you can do the same. I'm not here to.
That's right.
That's it.
And I feel that. And I just want to honor you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. I know you're a busy guy. Yeah. So
No. I actually am not. I'm not. I refuse to live life from the energy of busy.
Yeah.
Because that means I'm avoiding.
Yeah.
I actually want my cake and I eat it too.
Love that.
And no, my priority is myself and my family. And in order for that to be the priority, I can't be busy.
I love that clarification. Where can the people find you?
The book is at awakenbook.com. Mm-hmm. And on Instagram, Danny Morel, or on YouTube.
And as always, if you are feeling lost in the sauce on your spiritual journey or your physical health journey, mental health journey, and you need an advocate, a connector, you can always find me at yourconsciousconcierge.com, and I will help you find a teacher, a coach, a healer, a guide, but all of those things to bring you back to yourself.
That's a great service. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Yeah. I know how it feels to be confused on what is next or best. And so I got you at Your Conscious Concierge on Instagram.
And I just want you to know that I give her my full endorsement. I could just feel her energy. She's the real deal. So go to Conscious Conversations and Conscious Concierge on Instagram.
At Your Conscious Concierge.
At Your Conscious Concierge. This one got so deep, she started sweating and needing to fan herself off.
Literally like,
yeah.
like that.